I think there's a few things we need to talk about today, and one of those is what disabled might look like. Because being disabled and what that looks like is an ongoing judgment I get, and it's already an issue for people that can't tell I have an artificial leg. And as you can see from my walking, you probably wouldn't be able to tell, but also I have an extra hidden disability that I discovered this week. I wrote a blog a few days ago, and I've had a lot of people contact me asking me, am I all right? Now, if you haven't read it, the link of it for it is there, but I'll tell you what happened this week. For a wee while now, I've been getting pain in my left lower leg, the bit of my lower leg I've still got. I noticed it a few months back. When I was walking, I've been working really hard on walking to try and improve my fitness and my tolerance. And when I first was discharged from hospital, I knew that walking would build up collaterals, which would help blood flow. And so I've been doing all that really, really consistently. And I got to a point where I got about 800 meters, sometimes a kilometer at a push, and I couldn't get any further. I was getting pain. Now, I thought at first it was just something that I just needed to keep working on. Maybe I was just expecting too much of myself and all that sort of thing. And then a physiotherapist at the Limb Centre who was new, who came to introduce herself to me one of my visits, looked at me quite shocked when I was doing all this other stuff and could only walk a kilometre. So I thought, maybe I need to give this more thought. I talked it over with Joel, my physio, and all of the symptoms that I was sort of discovering, and he asked me what it was like, and I said, well, it's like my calf has got cramp. And we pondered over this, and he said, is it ischemia? No, it's not ischemia, it's not red, it's a bit cold, but it's not red. But actually, do you know what? It could be claudication. Now, claudication is when there is not enough oxygenated blood getting to a muscle, and so the muscle gives you sort of like a crampy feeling. Claudication is not like cramp, it is way worse. So if you've got claudication, eventually the muscle cannot function any longer because it doesn't have oxygenated blood, and your pain is so severe you just literally are stopped in your tracks and have to sit down. Now, this is what was happening. And when we talked about it, I related it back to last year when I had my leg and thought, you know what, it is actually really similar. So that's what I decided was the most likely cause for this, because I couldn't think of anything else. I wasn't getting the redness. It was a little bit cold. I asked lots of people about this and felt like I was banging my head against a wall when it comes to getting seen. Then I think the lockdown was in my favour, because actually I suddenly got a last minute cancellation appointment to have a vascular scan last week. And they had a look at my leg to see what they thought was happening. Here is some science to tell you what the veins and main arteries are in your leg. This is the female skeleton. I want to show you the vascular system. So we're going to add some muscles on. There they are. And we're going to look at the lower leg. So there's all the muscles on the legs. We've added them all in. And now we're going to add the arteries. So the arteries are in red. So I'm going to take some muscle layers off to show you what arteries are what. So if we go close in on the thigh, there's some more layers of quad muscle over the top of these arteries here. But this one here is the superficial femoral artery. This is the artery I don't have anymore. It is completely blocked. They were not able to graft it either, so the graft is blocked. Now, if you look where it goes down here into the popliteal artery. And where does that go? That goes down into your lower leg. So that artery that I don't have serves your lower leg. I also don't have the popliteal artery either. But there's some others that my leg has still got. this is where I need to take some layers of quad muscle off. So we'll take a few off. There's this one here, that one, which is the deep femoral artery that goes down through your thigh. I'm just going to add all the layers of muscle on so you can see where it is. It goes down through the middle of your thigh. And then I have another one here, which is that one, which is the lateral femoral artery. And I'll put the muscle back on. So that one goes down the outside of your thigh. Now, as you can see, these other two are smaller than the original femoral artery. This one here, this is the biggest branch. This one serves all of your lower leg. These other two smaller branches deal with the top half of your leg, and they both stop just above the knee. This one goes to the knee and stops there. From the knee, we have the popliteal artery, which is there, which I don't have. And then we go into the lower leg. So the reason that I'm having so much trouble with my leg is because my lower leg has got very little blood flow to it because the arteries are blocked. My body was able to make very small collateral vessels, but none of these arteries here, none of these exist. So my muscles below the knee, when I walk, are starved of oxygen and cause me pain. So in my left leg, the femoral artery, the popliteal artery, and everything down below the knee isn't working. And the other two are still working, but the femoral artery branches into three up here in your groin, and the main one, the biggest branch, is the one I don't have. So there is less blood flow going to my whole left leg, and below the knee, very little, if any, only some very, very small collaterals. So my first question was, is my leg viable? Am I going to lose more of it? And the answer was no, because they did everything that they could do. The vascular scan shows it hasn't got worse. It is just what it is. There's no femoral artery, so there's no main blood supply below the leg, below the knee. Could it get worse? Not likely. It's very unlikely that collateral veins get worse. Sometimes in some people they continue to build, but usually they plateau off and there comes a point where you're not going to build anymore. Do we know which type of person I am? No, but I would suggest we've got to where we're going to get to, because I just can't get past the kilometre mark when I'm walking. So what does that mean for me? Well, what it means is the muscle below, the calf muscle that remains, and the tibant, which are the two muscles at the front and the back of your leg below the knee, don't get enough blood flow to operate as normal. So I am never going to be able to walk very far. I am always going to get to a point where I have that pain and have to stop. And no, there's no way around it. There's no drugs that I can take. And there's no surgery left that they can do, because there's too much damage to the vascular system in my left leg. So I'm stuck with this shit, basically. So then I was asked by a lot of people online, how do I feel about this? Well, like I said before, this is what I expected her to say. And what was missing was they thought this would happen. And this is a normal outcome for a vascular patient to not have the same amount of blood flow restored, even after all the interventions. What they didn't do was explain that to me. So what is happening now is I have got to the left leg's vascular capacity. I reached that point where the left leg's, nope, I can't deal with your exercise anymore, and I have to stop. The main thing that is giving me is walking. Like I say, about 800 meters kilometer at most, and I can't do it very fast. The faster I go, the sooner I have to stop. It's sort of like a blocked toothpaste tube, you know, and the more demand you have on the vascular system, the faster it needs the blood flow, the faster it runs out. So I'm never going to be able to walk fast, and I'm never going to be able to walk far. So what do I do? Well, this also impacts the bike, but I'm not beaten yet. The bike is something slightly different because I can offload left and right leg. Now, what I'm working on at the moment, this is my main focus, is working out a way to cycle and tell my leg I'm not using the knee and anything below it. This takes a lot of concentration, trust me. But if I focus on the hamstring and pushing down with my thigh, the back of my thigh, then I have managed to get 25 kilometers non-stop so far by doing this. But it takes a lot of thinking. And when the left leg starts to get tired, I have to overload the right leg to let it freewheel for a while. It's all a learning game, and I'm trying to work out a way that I can keep doing these changes between the two legs without having to stop like I have to with walking. So that's what I'm doing at the moment. But as for triathlon, what does that mean for me then? Well, I've had to rethink that goal entirely because I'm never going to be able to do a middle distance triathlon, even if I have crutches and I'm on 2 feet. What does it mean for classification? Well, I don't know, because I'm currently classified as PTS4, which is moderate limb deficiency, and I'm against anyone who's got part of a limb missing, but the rest of it functions fine. My argument is that my leg doesn't function fine, and so I'm going to ask, once I've got the medical notes from the vascular surgeon, to have the classification re-looked at to see if we can get it changed. Even if I am, even if I get it changed, I might possibly get put into PTS3, which I think is probably a better place for me, because then I'm not against people, able-bodied, two-legged people. But it still means I can't use a racing wheelchair because you have to be a wheelchair athlete. And if I was going to be a wheelchair athlete, I have to use the hand bike as well. I couldn't. So in the classification process, I have to be on 2 feet. So what do we do about this? Well, I'd like to try what the Mateo, the Spanish lady, was doing, who's classified as PTS2, when she was in the Paralympic triathlon last weekend. Arms playing a bigger part in this run event than some of the other athletes. Because what a blade does is it offloads the weight onto the other side. So my right leg gets more work. So for my left leg, that is probably a good thing. If I could also double offload it with crutches as well, it might still be possible. Because when I use the crutches when I'm walking, I get further. So my first goal, work out the biking, get the biking consistent and with me using different muscles so it prevents the claudication pain. Wait and see whether I can get a running blade and then try that running blade with crutches to see if I can get some momentum going and offload onto the right leg again like before. Then I'm going to start at the beginning with the little tiny ones with a sprint triathlon and see how we go from there. Yeah, I'm okay with this. Yeah, I'm pissed off that I had to lose a leg. No one listened to me. Yeah, I'm pissed off that they continue to not listen to me. But I knew what was the matter. I had worked it out. And when I got the confirmation from the vascular scan and the surgeon, I was not surprised at all. I already have a wheelchair on order. They ordered me one a few months back because an amputee is always going to need one, you know, for bad days, blah, blah, blah. What I did not know at the time was this wheelchair is going to be my mode of transport more regularly than I thought. So, yeah, I'm okay with it. I've dealt with it perfectly fine. I have not been upset. My first thought was, okay, what's my workaround here? So in middle to longer distances that I have to walk, I'll be in a wheelchair. So me and my arms need to get stronger. I will have off-road wheels for the wheelchair. I am working on a way to get the biking better without using my left lower leg. And I'm waiting to find out on a blade to see whether I can see if there's a way to run with the blade and crutches. There must be, because Mateo managed it, so there must be. So I'm perfectly okay with it, and I'm all right. You don't need to worry about me, because, well, what's the point in being upset about it? This is something that I'm stuck with. I can't change it, and being pissed off or upset is not going to change it either. I have wasted way too much time in hospitals fighting this whole thing as it is, and their life is way too short So it's about time I got on with it. However, what it does is it changes the complexion of a disability, which I want to finish off with, because not all disabilities can be seen from the outside. And I've mentioned this a lot of times before. I get this is the most regular thing I get challenged about when I'm walking from my car or getting out of my car, having parked in a disability spot. Now, as you can see, when I walk down the drive at the beginning of this video, I look perfectly fine when I'm walking a couple of steps. But I've just explained to you, I can't walk more than 5 to 6 to 800 meters, depending on how fast I'm going at all. There is no way I can do it. So I need those people that are judging disabilities by physical terms to stop doing that, because disabilities aren't just all physical, visible on the outside. I now wear a badge, which is the sunflower badge. Now, I know that this is available worldwide, and I know that in some countries this has been abused, which is sad, with the whole COVID thing. But I always wear this, and this is a sign that somebody's got a hidden disability. It's a really small thing. You can find it online. And it's just, I don't want to stand up and shout from the rooftops about it. It's just a little thing there on my lapel. Just, if you know what it means, you'll know the signal, you'll see it. And it's just a sign to people to just be mindful before you open your mouth and insert your foot. So, my parting thought for today: don't judge a book by its cover. And I mean that in many, many ways.